The Ukrainian army has been successful in fighting off the Russian invasion so far. The Ukrainian soldiers are brave, but when it comes to strategy, it's doctrine rather than determination which is the deciding factor. That's why I wish to look into the way the Ukrainian army has organized its defense. Before we go into depth, we need to underline that there were initially two categories of contact lines. The first category was the regular border between Ukraine and Russia and Belarus. The second category was an existing front line. This was the case in Donbass and the Crimean Peninsula. There the Ukrainian army built trenches, laid minefields and erected anti-tank defenses. I will however start discussing the first category. During the first day of their advance, the Russian army was quite optimistic because the Ukrainian border guards often only offered a token resistance. The Russian armored columns made considerable headway in the north and the east, but in the process they had to bypass barricaded towns and cities. The focus was on speed and deep penetration into enemy territory. Besides, the storming of urban areas carried the risk of high attrition for little gain. Initially, this was no problem, but as the advance progressed, the road transportation of the supplies necessary to sustain the advance was being attacked from the rear. Logistical services needed to be protected by mobile troops, which put a further strain on available manpower and supplies to sustain the advance. The Russian logistical situation became a nightmare. The contact line of the second category, where there was already a genuine military front line, saw a different pattern. In the south, there was a clean breakthrough, and the Russians even managed to establish a strategic bridgehead over the Dnieper River at Kherson and link up with the breakout from the Donbass. Although the Ukrainians had organized stay-behind groups to ambush the Russian logistics, this Russian access of attack petered out as a result of a lack of troops, as we discussed in our previous video. In the Donbass, the Ukrainian army basically fights a conventional war with the armies of the breakaway republics. Due to the active nature of the conflict in this sector, the Ukrainian army already had a considerable presence in the front line. Nevertheless, the armies of the Lugansk and Donetsk People's Republics have been making considerable gains, and this brings me to the last point which I wish to make in this video. So far, the Ukrainian army has managed to hold its own on multiple fronts in a variety of ways, depending on the initial situation. The most successful doctrine is that of barricaded towns and cities combined with small unit counterattacks against supply lines and weak targets. This has caused the Russians the most trouble until now. The Ukrainian success has however a downside, which is the temptation to form a fixed front line. This development, combined with the refusal to give up any ground uncontested, could play into the hands of the Russians, who can bring their mighty artillery and air force to bear against an adversary in fixed positions. It could lead to a battle of attrition which the Ukrainians cannot hope to win. Let me know in the comment section what you think would be the best Ukrainian defensive doctrine. And don't forget to like and subscribe.